Nanda. Yep, yep. Maratuto. Siagoba Fangawa. Goopa Loopa. Koto Ostoga.
Hello, everybody. What's up? My name is Wes Arscott, and I am joined once again with my partners in crime, Hank McLaughlin, Andrew Daw.
Good evening.
Welcome to the show.
What's going on?
Does my lighting seem off to you right now? I'm getting some odd shadowing that I'm not used to.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird.
It makes you look deep.
Something. The depth of field.
Joe's here early. What's up, Joe?
I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? It is Tales from the Moon of Fandor, our little Ewoks review series. This week, it's what are we? Episode? Oh, that didn't change that. It's episode 9.
9,
and it is the Sunstar versus Shadowstone. I am a little darker tonight. I thought so. I guessed it on another show on the week yesterday, so nice. I don't know if I changed. I must have changed the lighting and didn't change it back. It's okay. More changes to come. I'm going to move this microphone, I think, this week because having to look around it. I love that it's overhead. I hate having to bob and weave around it like I'm boxing with it. So that's going to go.
Stick and move.
Yeah. Let's see. Ewoks, again, 39 years old. And as we go through this, I noticed it, especially on this episode. I regret not paying more attention to it as a kid.
Yeah,
I do. Before we go any further, though, let's have another round of
bad Star Wars jokes.
I mean, they're bad, right? They're supposed to be bad.
Mm.
They're good.
This one might be the baddest of the bad. Ooh. Or the best of the bad.
What do you got?
Guys, why are Ewoks so good at survival?
Because they live on planet Death.
You're in the ballpark. You are in the ballpark.
Hank,
you want to take a stab at it?
That's a good one. Why are they so good at survival?
They're so good at survival because they have tremendous endurance.
Oh boy.
I know. I almost need like a
yeah
to go with you.
You need a find the controls that extend the bridge to that one. Wicked.
I'm going to clip that soundbite now. That's going to be a permanent resident in the board.
Nice.
Thanks, Joe fan. Thank you. We aim to please, man. We aim to please. Yeah. So as I was saying before, my God, I hate dodging this thing. You still hear me? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Let me push this off a little bit. There we go. I am disappointed that I didn't pay more attention to it as a kid because I find that the level of layers as an adult, it's great, but I find that I'm maybe a little too critical of the show, and maybe not watching it for what it is, and maybe more for what I want it to be. That being said, this week, obvious change in the writing. When I saw Paul Dini's name come up for this week's episode, I was like, oh, yep, that makes sense. I think I said this before the other Dini episodes, that they are tonally just so different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me a little bit curious of what's ahead for season 2. Not saying we're going to get to season 2 right away because we do have Skeleton Crew coming up here in December, which I think is probably going to spark Fandom Crew. I think that title kind of writes itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
But we will get back to Ewoks, and we will get to season 2. I'm curious how much of season 2 Dini wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to look ahead, but yeah, I'm curious too. This one feels like it might have been the one they pitched to get the series. There's a lot going on, and this is just a personal feeling. I feel like it's out of order with all of the rest of the episodes we've seen so far.
I don't think that's just a feeling. It is 100% out of
Yeah.
order.
Unless-
I agree with that.
I believe
unless-
this is supposed to be the cap to the first 4-episode arc.
Oh,
They
maybe.
almost should have ran them as a 4-episode arc.
All the Paul Dini's ones, because in it, he makes his pitch to Logray, right?
Oh yeah.
And then in episodes we've already seen, he's already past that moment.
You're right. So I mean, and you're referencing Tebow,
Yes, Tebow.
formally becoming Logray's apprentice in this episode.
Logray.
But he's Logray. He's already taken part in a major ceremony.
Right.
Like the two of them summon the animals
Mhm.
to
save
save
the
the Jindas. So I agree that this does feel a little bit out of order.
Yeah. You
Well,
almost take the fact that he's the apprentice of Logray as rote in the first few episodes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because, the research component that we do for the shows, we're obviously reading ahead to try and fill some of the holes.
Sure.
And inadvertently, I mean, that did come up, that apprentice to Logray. So for sure, it was easy to be influenced by that. Joe Fan says, it feels rushed. Joe Fan, do you mean the episode or the entire season?
No, I think he's second season, I think.
Second season.
Go
Second
look at his
okay.
comment just before that.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Season 1 was better. The second was meh. Meh. I think for me, the big thing about season 2 is what was the reason necessitating an entire cast swapping? What happened there?
Yeah.
There are no original cast members come back in their roles.
All those
season 2.
Canadian actors just got their heads full because they were doing Care Bears and everything.
Yes.
We want more money.
I guess so.
You're fired.
One of the things I really appreciate in this episode is, it answers a question that we had. How long do Ewoks live?
Yeah, at
we don't
least 200
At
snows.
least 200 snows, yeah.
Another question that I might not have had, but it snows on Endor. Like seasonally.
Yeah. I revisited that's going to be one of our slides tonight. I revisited sort of time in Star Wars. And I think if you go back into our back catalog, I may have errored
Oh,
the last time we brought this up, or things have changed in the time that since we've talked about time.
in terms of revolutions?
In terms of standard days and
Yeah.
standard years,
Right.
because now, not to blow this for everybody, but now in the current canon, a standard year, basically they've used Coruscant as the center of the universe, which it is, the galactic sort of center of the universe, and it is a 24-hour day and a 365 day year. That is a galactic standard year. So it's the same as our days and years here on Earth. And oh wow, this is an interesting comment.
Yeah, it's spam.
I'll tell you, it might be spam. Let's read this one.
It's
This
crafty
is
spam.
cool.
Yeah.
I am forever thankful, sir, and grateful to you, Dr. Loka Spellcaster. I feel like I'm in D&D. You are just so exceptional and different from all these other fake spellcasters. I am glad my wife came back to me and has stayed committed and lovely more than ever before. I'm happy to be there for her and happy we made it together here another year in love and harmony forever. Thank you again, Dr. Loka Spellcaster. Okay, we're done.
Did you start selling love potions on the side?
Oh my.
That's my extra side hustle.
That's
That's my side hustle.
That's that person's 15 minutes of fame.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out for them.
Listen, if you're watching the show and enjoying it, that's all I care about. Thanks very much. All right, let's get into this week's episode. Let me switch things up here. Haha, and then one more. Nope,
Almost there.
That's the one I'm looking for. Swap that out. There we go. That's better. Okay, this one, Star Wars Ewoks, Season 1, Episode 9, Sunstar Vs Shadowstone. This is the big history lesson that we had to skip ahead. We talked about way back in what, episode 2?
One or
Maybe,
two.
One or two. I was thinking about that in the car. I'm like, wow, what, 9 episodes later to fill us in? Again, written by Paul Dini. Completely obvious. Directed by Raymond Jaffalis. Original air date on this one, Saturday. Saturday. Wow. Let me slow down.
Saturday morning.
That's right. Saturday morning in the month of Jaloon.
Lousy March weather.
That's Jaloon, by the way. That's the month before October.
Mm.
Wow. Saturday, November 2nd, 1985. Runtime 22 minutes, as is all broadcast television at that time. Oh my gosh, what am I doing here? And our episode synopsis this week reads: to save Tebow and his friends, Master Logray battles Morag for the Sunstar Shadowstone.
Morag.
And Logray.
Man, that drove me crazy. I have like no right to be driven crazy by it. And this is another reason I think it was the first episode ever recorded too.
For sure, because somebody corrected her because she says Logray in every
other episode, but she and it's so jarring because Tebow keeps saying, but Logray, but Logray.
It's so true. It is so true. All right. Our episode this week opens. Where are we at here?
We are
Well,
gathered around the little campfire thingy.
It's interesting how fast and loose we play with the rules in this one, because apparently Chief Chirpa can use
Story
magic.
bubbles.
He can use magic to some degree. Chirpa is telling a story, and he's using a bag of magic crystals that are referred to as prism pebbles, and they produce this sort of, we'll call it a hologram, I guess, a magical hologram.
Sparkly hologram.
Yeah.
Now, there a few of the details are sketchy in his story, but the short version is Chirpa is telling the story of how Morag stole the Sunstar Shadowstone from the Ewoks, and only one single Ewok brave tried to stop her. Now, as we can see in the accompanying story shots, the brave attempts to rope the Mantigrew, and that's kind of interesting. Morag's riding the Mantigrew this time.
Yeah.
Presumably, it's the same Mantigrew that we saw before, trying to get the sunberries.
You would think so.
Now, the young warrior attempts to rope the thing, and unfortunately gets carried away. Now,
One thing though, he does refer to Morag as Morag, the Tulga Witch.
the Tulga Witch, yeah.
Did he refer to, or did they refer to her as that in the previous version?
I
believe
believe
so.
they did.
Okay.
I do
believe
believe.
so.
Yeah. Joe Fan says, I wonder if my mom sat me in front of these to watch. I didn't know about the Ewok show until the late 90s and finally watched them this year on Disney. That's a good question.
They didn't really have a syndication period that I'm aware of.
No.
It was there and then it was gone.
It's one of those things where in the early 2000s, I was like, oh, I forgot about that shit. And then I like found it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And there was such low quality.
Doing some of the research for our show and then seeing that there were collected volumes of episodes in like home media.
format.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
3 or 4
right.
episodes together that weren't necessarily related, but like, hey, like here's a half a dozen episodes of the Smurfs that'll keep you going for an hour or two.
I remember the comics, but I can't remember whether they ran simultaneously.
Mm.
I want to
haven't
say
looked it up.
that Star imprint, when Star launched, I feel like it launched with, and I think Ewoks was there, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats.
Right.
I think those 3 and Muppet Babies, I think they all ran at the same time. I think they all launched within a week or a month of each other.
Yeah. And
I couldn't say that
we're right around the
fact,
right
but-
date, because I always the same thing that when Star Brand launched. I figure it's around 85, 84, 85.
Joe Fan says, I've been watching Droids after Ewoks.
It's good, eh?
I think you've picked it in the right order. Because if you had any disappointment in Ewoks, Droids just feel so Star Wars when you sit down and watch it. It's so good.
Yeah.
We'll get to that one too at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens here? Yeah, instead the brave gets dragged off by the rope that he used to lasso the Mantigrew. Morag, now the way Chirpa says it is Morag was impressed by this. Apparently that
Impressed or
he was-
amused, and
that he was the
decided to
only one.
keep him alive.
Yeah, the only one to stand up to her. She forces him into menial labor.
Servitude.
Yeah. Clean my hut.
Oh, and that's what he does to Tebow.
Isn't
He-
that something, eh?
He trains him the way he was trained by Morag.
Maybe without the
Forced,
Without
it's
the whip.
it's
Yeah.
just like
Or the force
it's the discipline first,
true. Without the blasts from the staff.
Same with Yoda and Luke, though, right? First, you got to train, run through the forest, get yourself all fit and
Yeah.
ready to go, and then
That's right.
start tackling mental stuff.
Well, the young warrior, it turns out, may have taken a page from the Admiral Akbar page, as we know that Akbar was Tarkin's personal servant for a period of time, where he learned all sorts of stuff. This Ewok brave learns Morag's magic. That's another layer.
Hmm.
So presumably Logray was not necessarily a wizard prior to...
Well, they call him a
Prior to-
brave, so he was like, again, mirroring Tebow. It's the same
Yeah.
trajectory. Tebow starts out as a warrior, wanting to be like his brother, and then he's obviously sort of just naturally leans towards the Force.
And I agree with that. I
Yeah.
do believe that there are certain elements of the magic that we see is there's no doubt in my mind it's Force related.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
We're going to get another really strong example of that in next week's episode.
It feels like the stone too. Just even the color palette and the sort of the yin yangness really reminds me of that. And Last Jedi reference. There you go. But the Octu temple with the proto Jedi and that sort of yin
Symbol
yang
on the floor.
That the mosaic. It reminds me of that strongly.
Yeah, I'm there with you as well on that. The young warrior silently watched and learned until he was able, and this is Chirpa's words, able to use her own magic against her. It looks like he uses some kind of device, not the Sunstar Shadowstone, but apparently it emits a rainbow, whatever it is.
He borrowed the tummy magic from the Care Bears.
That's a
Low
one.
gray stare.
That's a one bear stare. Nice.
That's all it took.
Spike you with a rainbow.
In any event, it causes Morag to drop the stone, breaking it in two. At which point, our Ewok brave picks up the Sunstar half and Didi Mouse and gets out of there.
Do we think that they used a rainbow simply to say he was using light side magic?
I don't know.
As
It
opposed,
could be.
hers takes the form of like lightning, which is dark and striking, right?
That's true. And
Oh,
her stuff we've seen, and that's been pretty consistent. The blasts from her staff are generally purple.
Purplish in color.
Yeah. Which, I mean, classic comic book color.
Yeah.
Purple associated with villains.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mostly, anyway.
Mostly.
Well, as Chirpa winds down the story, Tebow is like, well, what happened to the stones and what happened to the warrior? Chirpa says that Morag still has the Shadow Stone. And as we all know, that's the piece that's
Mounted
adorning her staff. But then Chirpa walks over to a railing and he doesn't point. He just kind of looks. And Tebow steps up with him and that's like, he's still around. And like the kids are like outright like, what?
Master
Logray?
Logray?
Yeah.
No way. Wicket's more skeptical than Tebow.
Yeah.
It's
Tebow's
true.
all
but
in, of course.
Yeah.
He's Master Logray is clearly my hero.
as he's like, Logray can do anything.
Mhm.
So far, yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cute. That sort of like, you know, we've all had those adults that we looked up to when we were kids that we were just so enamored with, like, you know,
They
they
can do no wrong.
yeah, exactly. There was they had the golden glow. For Tebow, that's Logray.
Yeah.
Looking down, Tebow and Wicket see it's Master Logray. They see him walking past and are wide-eyed at the revelation that he is the brave young warrior. So much so that after the walklings go home for the night, Tebow tells Wicket that first thing in the morning he's going to volunteer to be Logray's apprentice.
Nice touch here, though. Alison Cord is back and voicing Milani.
As Milani. Well, stick around for next week because she's
Front and center.
pretty much front and center of the episode. Yeah.
She has her hood though.
Logray had an answer for everything. He did. Oh, she does have her hood. So that's after the ceremony.
Hood ceremony, yeah.
They're chopping it up a little bit.
And in the first episode, that's where we see Tebow basically
Right.
calm Baga.
Hmm.
So he's naturally like
He's got the
there's a-
animal
I
force
mean, it's
ability.
I guess it's possible that it's never been like he's never formally asked to be the apprentice, and everything we saw was like just casual. It's certainly that episode where they're both chanting,
Yeah,
and I
that
don't
seems
know.
a little more formal.
It does though, but I'm
Mhm.
wondering. Like, I'd have to go back and see because I think Milani's in the first episode too, and it may be just an adornment to her hood. I can't remember,
Oh, no,
but that
they all
throws
get-
me off though.
Yeah.
it's a plot point because her hood is so big it falls over
Right.
her face.
Right.
Sherpa says we'll get you a new one, and she's like, no, she loves it the
Oh,
way
yeah.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Playing fast and loose, these old writers in '85.
Absolutely. I wish that the animation was just a little bit clearer here. One, it's like a vision thing, so it's already got that like shimmer over top of it, so like it's already distorted. But then you realize that it's like television from the 80s that hasn't necessarily been remastered. But I do love the younger looking Logray. When you look at him,
Yeah.
the mustache is a little more handlebar.
Mhm.
It's less droopy. Like it's oh yeah, of course it's Logray.
Younger Logray.
Yeah. Without his Mantigrew.
Hasn't slain that thing yet.
No.
He slays that on the way out of the cave.
I wonder if it's if this is a different Mantigrew then.
Maybe.
Maybe this is the one that provides the adornment.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Moreg's staff looks like C-3PO having a panic attack.
True.
Well, there's an interesting thing here though. But there's that, like, look at the and we see the actual thing. Altar, arbor, whatever you want to call it. It's the same shape.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm feeling like there's something there that we're not aware of, that maybe like in the show Bible, like the writers know what it is,
Oh,
Channeling.
maybe.
but we don't.
It looks like
Or harnessing.
like a hyperspace ring where you would have to dock something.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's like, that type of idea where you're channeling energy.
Yeah. I buy that for sure.
Mhm.
All right. The next day, Tebow goes down to Logray's hut and he recounts to Logray the story of how Sherpa told them how he defeated Morag, and asks if Logray would take him as his apprentice. Not before he does it's like the Happy Gilmore thing when Grandma answers the door in the Gene Simmons mask. Ah!
Yep.
Only this is some kind of horned creaturey thing.
Something else he killed at his heyday.
I guess so. Yeah, really. Back in my day when
I collected heads.
I was slaying everything.
Good question.
That's an interesting one. Joe Fan asks, didn't McDonald's do Ewok toys?
I don't recall.
Don't recall. I
The
I
first
know they had
picture-
licensing with Burger King for the first two movies.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I did sell it.
Oh.
I had a set of cups in the store not that long ago.
Yeah, I still have a Luke Skywalker cup from the original New Hope.
I
Burger King run.
remember McDonald's, one of the first licensed Happy Meals I can remember was the Star Trek Happy Meal.
Oh yeah,
And I
Oh,
think it came out
yeah.
for like around the time of the motion picture. So maybe like
it totally
79.
did. I
Yeah.
really remember that.
Yeah. Remember that one. I don't necessarily remember them doing Ewoks. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
that they
but-
didn't. It just means I don't remember.
Well, in 2008, they did do the one to coincide with the Clone Wars, the little plush Wicket.
Okay. Yep.
But as far as the 80s, I don't believe so.
Oh, there you go. So
Go for
Joe,
it.
I think he's right there with you. They did, but it was in 08. That's what I remember. I
Yeah,
thought it
there-
was older.
It's right there, little wicket.
That's funny.
Cheap ass McDonald's toys.
Oh, come on. The Han Solo out of that wave was awesome.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't even tell
He
you.
came in a little carbonite thing, and you would wind him up. And when you let it go, he'd vibrate out of the case.
Oh, nice.
That's dope.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
We couldn't even get a Hasbro action figure to do that.
Still can't.
Well, Logray cautions Tebow. He says there is more to magic than flashing lights and silly heroics.
Hmm.
Silly heroics. There is the wisdom of the ages talking right there.
Like lassoing a,
Trying to rope a dope a Mantigrew.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
ride with it.
But the silly heroics thing, it does make you wonder, like, what other adventures has he had, right?
Mhm.
talking about this Ewok revival over at Marvel Comics. Like, if there ever was a series to do, let's get the young Logray adventures.
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
That would be cool.
You know, we give you a source for all these skulls.
Yeah, there's a lot of skulls in there, isn't there?
Mhm.
On the walls, on the tables.
Cupboard full.
And like I get the parallels between, like, you know, the tribal adornments, if you will.
Yeah.
But
No, you're right. You're
you
right.
know, they didn't make them out of plastic then, right? So you would go and hunt your item and use from there, because nothing goes to waste.
Oh no, absolutely. Where are those winter supplies from a couple episodes ago?
Still on the way back.
They're still running through the forest. Logray says that the study of the natural ways requires many years of strict devotion. And he cautions that terrible things can happen to a wizard who foolishly misuses their knowledge. Only for defense.
So there's a little bit of internal, like, we're in world and we're using the word wizard,
That's true.
right? So, and we know what that means on Tatooine and A New Hope. That old man's just a crazy old wizard.
Crazy old wizard.
Mm.
Or, you know, that's so wizard, Annie. Like, so, you know, like that doubles down on the Force for me. The idea that, like, this is a Force using tradition. We're Jedi adjacent for sure.
I mean, how does that? This is kind of foolish to bring it up, and I don't mean foolish and like stupid. I just mean like it's funny, haha. But like, how does that relate to Kitster wizard?
Well, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's so wizard, Annie. It's the idea that, I mean, maybe at that time it's ironic.
Maybe, because I think there's still an element of like fantastical mysticism there. Because
Right.
Anakin absolutely, like to Qui-Gon, you're a Jedi.
Right.
And he knows.
Laser sword.
He knows what a Jedi is. So, I mean, is Jedi and wizard interchangeable at that period?
You know,
Maybe.
pre-Clone Wars, I think Jedi was a common knowledge thing,
I thought so.
Yeah.
like heavily. I like the idea. And there's some other, like, we later on, I know you don't have your dialogue beats memorized or whatever.
No, not on this one. No.
But there's totally a legacy line when someone says, I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, it's in this episode.
Yep.
Yeah. Or is it? No, it's next. It is
No,
in
it's
this episode.
yeah,
As
it's
they-
It
Nisa.
is in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, Nisa says it.
Joe Fan 84 got a good question. Was Ewoks 2 years BBY or before Return of the Jedi? So the Wikipedia,
Good question.
I want to say that the Wikipedia does not answer this eloquently enough, because I believe the answer is this is post Return of the Jedi. It's not supposed to be though, because there is an episode in season 2
where the Empire
the Empire
arrives.
shows up, and I always assumed that was before the construction of the second Death Star.
Yeah. They had to set up their field generator.
Exactly. So definitely, I want to say this is after. I shouldn't say. I don't want to put my.
It's a little easier to stardate the droids series, if you will.
Mhm.
Yes, and then just ignore it, like that. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
We've had several masters. Really?
Captain Antilles.
That's right. All right. So, yeah, a wizard who foolishly misuses their knowledge. At the same time, he like straight up force levitates a broom
Right.
and then drops it conveniently into Tebow's hand, telling him that he must be willing to work long hours
Hmm.
before doing the simplest of tasks before attempting his first spell.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It's a bit of Miyagi in there.
Mhm.
What's going on here? There we go. Sorry, my little taskbar popped up. I'm like, get that out of there. All right. Tebow, wide and enthusiastic, says, I will do anything. Anything. Just teach me.
He's lucky it wasn't Diddy.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
dude. Ow.
Wash them gourds.
That's true. Logray does accept him as his apprentice. He accepts the offer, drops the broom into Tebow's hands, and then instructs him to sweep out the hut, wash out some dirty gourds, dust off some masks, and then he wants him to go and collect something called a locust spore and a lantern bird's nest
We've
And
done
I'm
that
like,
one before.
Did he just say Lantern Bird's Nest?
Yeah.
He says it the once, and then we never reference back again because everything kind of hits the
But
fan.
isn't that the one that
Tebow's
that's
like,
a
I know
huge
where
nest.
doesn't
Tebow.
Paploo have to do that task earlier in the season?
He's got to get a feather.
Willie.
Oh,
Willie
it's
does it.
Willie. It's Willie, right?
But they nobody makes it back, so they got to go looking for them.
Right.
And Tebow's the one who says, "I know where that is." We get there, and it's like Mando and Bo-Katan recovering, going after Ragnar. The nest is like massive, right? And I'm like, how the hell is Tebow going to get a Lantern Bird's Nest? I
Maybe
thought,
just a piece
wow,
of it.
maybe there are smaller lantern, maybe Lantern Bird's Nest, smaller. I don't know.
Because Weechi, he's like the same size as an egg.
That's right.
Or maybe it's like, here's an impossible task, like what Asajj Ventress does with Omega. Here's an impossible task. Go get this before nightfall, and then she friggin' does it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's a comedy beat that, and it happens later on, but it's important when we next meet up with Tebow bringing this Locaspore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. Well, sometime later, here we go. We see Tebow carrying a giant, like a huge, it's like twice the size of him, mushroom. Here's the Locaspore.
I like the little play or the detail here as he's walking across the gangway, and there's two little walklings, and they're pulling the equivalent of one of those ducks on wheels.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, walking along with it. And then we get to Milani, and she's got the cup on a stick.
Nice.
It's like, oh, classic,
I get the
60s
feeling,
toys.
I was looking at that and I got the feeling like, but for us, it would have been like a
The
ball,
ball in the cup.
and the cup.
Yeah.
This looks like a hollowed out, like
The cup to
like
the
a
stick,
bone on a spike.
Yes.
I'm like, just a little reminder that even Ewok children can be lethal
But she's pretty good with that. She lands it every time.
without looking.
Yeah.
Good for her. Milani asks him what he's doing. Of course, Milani being Tebow's little sister. And he says, it's magic.
Sure it is.
Yeah. Milani, age appropriately, says, is it fun? He tells her it's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be hard work. He tries to excuse himself and by saying that he's got to get the spore to Master Logray's hut, but obviously Tebow is so focused he's overlooked the fact that he's an entire
high.
level higher than he needs to be. As Milani says, Logray lives down there, and he does that. Like, there's a moment of like, but he doesn't want her to see that.
Yeah.
So he kind of quickly recovers from that. But it's too late because at the same time he's stepped out from underneath the Locaspore, and
look out, Andy! Here comes the boulder.
That railing is a adequately ramp shaped,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing takes off like a Looney Tunes snowball.
Start the plane, Jock.
That's right. Tebow tries to recover, telling her he was taking a shortcut, steps out from under the giant spore, and then it tumbles loose and bounces down the stairs, narrowly missing Chief Chirpa, and it bowls right into Logray's hut with a very loud crash. You can hear the grumbling. Tebow rushes to Logray's hut, finding it in shambles. Now there are chunks of Locaspore all over the place.
Apparently it's sticky.
Yeah, I mean, mushrooms are different on Endor, I guess.
Yeah.
Logray sarcastically thanks Tebow for getting him the Locaspore and then tells him, now get a broom and clean up this mess.
What was the sap the Dulocs used on their net? Was it Gunga sap or some weird thing?
Yeah, it had a weird name. I'd have to go back and check.
I don't think it was
notes.
Loca sap though.
I don't think so
That would
either.
be a nice touch.
Now you got me wondering. I'll go and check it after.
Future questions.
Chirpa shows up. He's come to return the stones. He wants to return. What are they called again? The prism
Pebbles.
Prism
but they are
pebbles.
also referred to as story pebbles.
Story pebbles. Yeah. He asks what happened. Logray says, "Ask my new apprentice." Chirpa has a laugh, but he does congratulate Tebow and tells him that he's got a great teacher in Logray and that he's come to return the pebbles. Now, Tebow, crawling around on the floor, looking for a broom, picks up what looks like an ornate wand and starts waving it around. Is this a broom?
No.
Sorcerer's apprentice here.
Mhm.
Logray,
Yeah.
no!
It's the
And,
Fantasia moment.
That's right. A bright flash emits from the end of the wand, and miraculously, the entire mess of the hut is cleaned up in mere seconds, with the lost broom floating over to Tebow's open hand.
But the spore, it completely disappears.
It does, yeah. And I mean, there's you don't see it here, but like Chirpa's legs were covered in it,
Yeah.
and it's gone. The pottery reassembles itself. The broken curtain rod reattaches, and everything cleans up handy dandy.
Mhm.
It looks quite nice.
Super powerful trinket.
Yeah, seriously.
Just leave it lying there under a desk or something.
Pays no mind to it when it's broken.
In a Family Matters kind of way. Did I do that?
Yep.
Logray affirms that yes, you did, but you were supposed to do it without magic.
That Urkel thing is a Star Wars reference now, bro.
Oh my gosh! I got to tell you though, as an aside, if you haven't seen the photos that came out last week, was it Entertainment Weekly?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so, or Empire Magazine.
One of
It's
the
one of the two.
Yeah.
We got a shot of Vane and some of the other pirates.
They're all named now too.
From Skeleton Crew, and one of them is Jaleel White.
Yep.
And he looks like he's rocking the full Lobot prosthesis, and I am all for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
man.
back to Tuesday's Random Fandom if you want to check that out.
Looks a bit like Breetai.
He kind of does.
He
He does in a way.
Yeah.
So taking the wand from Tebow, Logray passes on a very important lesson. He says a good wizard should rely on themselves first and magic second.
Awesome.
And then completely, utterly, irresponsibly leaves the wand in a tray out in the open. Don't put that away or nothing. Don't lock up your guns.
This
They
is a
lock up
test.
the soap, but not the wand.
That's right. Locks up the soap, but not the wand.
You can't lock the plot point up.
That's right. That's true.
There's no Dulocks. Come take it right now. We're fine.
He puts both the wand and the bag of prison pebbles in the tray on the table that's nearby. Like, yeah, it's. I think, in some level, it's like, is this intentionally there to test him?
Maybe.
He says, seeing as I need another locuspore, I'll go and get it myself. And he leaves Tebow to clean up. Well, later on, Wicket and Nisa are walking through the village, remarking how serious that Tebow was at becoming Logray's apprentice. And they kind of make light of it. Like, they kind of, like, they just don't, I don't know if they don't believe that he's good, like he can do it, or they just don't believe that he's made the choice. But they do kind of make fun of it.
I still think that they just don't believe all the tales of Logray yet.
So
They
that's
are,
possible.
they may be a little skeptical. Yeah.
At this point, though, they should know. Like, he's pulling out magical doodads.
I
every
mean,
week.
Wicket was the lantern holder, so he knows that.
His stuff works.
Yeah. We don't know if Logray made the lantern though.
We certainly gave it to them, though.
He did.
There's a reason Willie's afraid of his hut too. Like, so
All the time.
so it's like common knowledge, I would think, among the other Ewoks.
If you need Willie to go in there, just leave some taffy on the floor.
Yep.
But you know how stories get too with
Oh,
children.
yeah, of
Like,
course.
even
They
regular
just
children.
bigger and more.
Right.
They spot Latara peeking in the window. Latara, who's still clearly enamored with Tebow. And then they come over. Hey, what's going on? And she like hops out of the window. I wasn't spying. And Wicket kind of does the, well, that's not nice.
You shouldn't spy.
You shouldn't spy on anybody.
Unless there's something to spy on.
Yeah, unless they're doing something interesting. As he pulls himself up on the up to the window.
Tebow, who's always popping out of bushes, should have heard
right.
that lesson.
Literally, huh? I better go find out what's going on.
I only heard part of that conversation. Need the rest.
He pulls himself into the window just in time to get a face full of dust. They all wonder what he's doing in there. Latara says something like, "Oh, I bet he's conjuring monsters." And Wicket's like, "Or maybe it's a lightning storm." And they share a laugh over that little jokey moment. However, they all fall on the floor when they pop their heads inside to find Tebow beating a rug with a broom. They make fun of him for cleaning house. And it's clear that Tebow is affected by this and not in a good way.
No.
Maybe even a little embarrassed by it. Enough so that he starts spinning we'll call it a yarn. It's a lie. Starts spinning a lie by telling them that he won't, well, that's fine. I just won't show you the new tricks that I've learned.
Right.
And then Wicket laughs even harder. What? We already know how to clean up.
That's a good burn. We know how to beat rugs. That's actually a really good burn.
And then, he's already like the thing, it's starting to unwind and he just leans right into it. He's now committed to the lie and he calls them skeptics and reaches over to that table and grabs for the bag of prism pebbles. Reaching in, he tosses one out and it falls flat at Wicket's feet and does nothing. Wicket's not impressed. But then after it hits the floor, it erupts and the holographic image of a munyip flitters around the hut.
It's like a Ren and Stimpy squirrel.
Yeah, suddenly everybody is like, oh. And then it all goes to Tebow's head after that. Did you do that? Tebow leans into his newfound cockiness as he says, I guess so, before puffing out his chest and exclaiming confidently, I mean, of course I did. I'm a junior shaman after all. Oh no.
Oh, geez.
Oh no, Joe Fan. On this week's episode of What Did My Cats Bring In? We have a brown frog. Couldn't get a munyip. Should get a munyip. Flying squirrel.
Nice.
That would be fun.
Would it though? You saw what that thing did to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That wasn't. Was that a flying?
That wasn't even a flying one.
No, that was just
a regular one.
Just a gray squirrel. Well, Wicket and the others start to fawn over him because of what they now believe is their friend's new powers. Wicket wants to know if he can do any more. Can you show us any more tricks? And Nisa is the voice of reason in this one. I mean, if you're sure that Master Logray won't mind. But Tebow is now well and deep into his own lie, and grabbing the wand from the tray exclaims, "Oh, old Logray? No, he lets me borrow his stuff." Oh boy. Now, not wanting to alert any of the adults, Tebow suggests that they should go out into the forests so they don't disturb anybody.
See, I thought he was making an actual good choice there. Like, I just spent all morning cleaning this place. I don't want to muck it up again.
Oh, that is true. So that is definitely not the motivation here.
When we go out to the forest and I indefinitely screw this up, because he will, at least I'm not going to wreck the hut.
I mean, knowing that, like, clearly he does not want to be caught.
No.
But if the same thing had happened in the hut, yes, he would have got in trouble, but we wouldn't have had the rest of the episode.
That's right. Oh,
What's
no.
that? Oh, no. They brought in a flying squirrel Wednesday. I hope it survives. I didn't know we had them here in Alabama.
I didn't know that either. Learned something new.
I didn't know Alabama was a real place.
Oh, my gosh. That is true. If you're going to do something wrong, do it right.
True that, Joe.
All right. So transition out to the forest. We see Tebow using the prism pebbles and he conjures an image of Logray. With his newfound, I want to say confidence, but like at this point, I think it's outright cockiness.
Yeah, ego. It's all ego. Yep.
Tebow uses the wand to levitate and play Latara's flute. Everybody seems impressed, including Morag, who just happens to be lurking nearby.
Yeah, in the bushes where Tebow usually hides.
She learned a thing from him.
Maybe.
Then, just as in Logray's hut, the magic from the wand becomes too much for Tebow. And Latara's flute, it begins spinning uncontrollably until it falls and smashes on the ground like broken.
Yep.
She's quite upset about that. At this point, I'm not sure if Wicket and the others are like, they think he's dangerous or they just think he's a fraud. But they're like, we're done.
They're quickly distracted, though.
Well, that's true.
So is Morag just wandering the woods at night, close to the Ewok village?
Maybe. Looking for...
It doesn't seem to be uncommon, though, because the Dulocs have done this on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
Right.
They'll do it again next episode.
Yeah, she's just looking for an opportunity.
We've already sort of gotten that there is a long-standing rivalry between her and Logray. So,
sure.
You know, if Logray's off in the forest looking for locospores, and maybe she caught wind of that, and she's looking for him, and has now found the kids. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying too hard.
No. Because if she's been trying to get it back for 200 snows.
That's true.
Then
I thought he learned how to use magic too quickly.
He's a natural.
I feel like this is the Sorcerer's Apprentice. This is Mickey Mouse grabbing the wand and like, oh, look, I can just wave it and stuff happens.
This is Ray.
Without any of the intuition. All right. So, as the others essentially go to walk away, there's this angelic voice that they can hear, and they all go to investigate where it's coming from. Now, I don't know if they completely lifted this from another project, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. Because
It looks like Angel from Rock and Rule.
Okay, there's some serious like familiarity here.
Yeah, big time.
Tebow points out that the singing is coming from a nearby cave, a cave that happens to have some golden light shining out the mouth.
Nothing siren-y going on here.
No. As they go inside, Nisa drops the most prolific Star Wars legacy line ever when she says, I have a bad feeling about this.
Wicked.
At the back of the cave sits a beautiful woman who looks like an anthropomorphized cat. Or we've never seen anthropomorphized animals in an Nelvana production ever.
Never, ever.
No. Double
No
and Daniel
thing.
Mouse, Rock and Rule. She says that she understands one of them is a great wizard. And old Tebow, yeah, that's me. She says she knows some tricks of her own and asks if they'd like to see them. Of course, by then, it's too late as she morphs back into Morag's form, just as two of the Yuzums rush in, taking everyone prisoner.
So do we think maybe that's Morag's original form? Do you think she can like
there's a part of
transform
me,
back for a sec?
I thought maybe.
Evil queen, old hag thing going on.
We've seen that before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very common trope with witches.
Mm-hmm.
The I was beautiful once. I could buy into that. I mean, Morag's current form does look like it's
Old and weathered.
animalistic, kind of like old doggish.
Right.
Yeah.
Young cat to old dog. I could buy that. I mean, is she
struck with some force lightning?
I know it's a Nelvana trope. Is she 3-fingered? She is 3-fingered. Maybe. Maybe. All right.
Good one from Joe fan there.
Spaceballs, when Dark Helmet tricked Vespa into thinking it's her father to lure out Vespa. That's true.
But they use the
That's true.
Schwartz.
We've got Random Rick Reviews on Twitch says, dig through the ditches and burn through the witches. I love it. I do love it. Where are we at here? The cat lady says, everyone is welcome here as the illusion fades. The golden glow recedes and the cat lady morphs into Morag. Wicket calls for her to let them go. Tebow starts waving the broken wand, kind of futilely.
Ominous.
Morag laughs as she tells him that she needs them, the kids, to lure Logray to her, and that when he comes looking for his fool apprentice, as she calls him, she'll be waiting. Hank, you said it, man. And it wasn't lost on me
Oh,
that
nice.
cat lady is very much like Angel from Rock and Rule. Rock and Rule, by the way, feature film. It didn't do so well at the theaters. It's got kind of a cult following now, but the premise is, the Mick Jagger villain looking dude is looking for a voice that will complete his musical magic that will open a doorway to summon a demon into the world. It's this post-apocalyptic Earth where like humanity has died off, and up from that has risen these like anthropomorphized like cats, dogs, and mice. And I'm pretty sure Angel is a mouse, judging by those ears. But I just couldn't help but like, God, this is so familiar.
It's crazy, eh?
And I honestly wondered if the was
Borrowed right out
ripped
of it.
from Rock and Rule.
So I watched it recently because we talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it might have even been the first episode because it was Nelman and it was relevant.
Yeah.
And I must have been on a lot more drugs when I saw it originally. I mean, when I originally saw it, I was a little kid, so it was just weird, and like it had the same thing that heavy metal had for me, which was I'm not supposed to be watching this. Cool.
Yeah.
But like watching it as a sober adult, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of stuff missing here for plot points and things of that nature.
But it looks cool, and
It
Cheap
looks
Trick is
so
in it.
cool.
Cheap Trick is in it, so that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
Debbie Harry. The reason Joe said never heard of it in his thing there, the reason you probably never heard of it is because it's Canadian. There is an American version of it, but it's a sort of a Canadian thing.
It's got another title. I think there's an international title.
I believe there is an
It's
international
not Rock
title.
and Rule. I don't remember what the hell it's called. God, I looked this up the other day. I don't even remember now. Iggy Pop, by the way, plays our villain there.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool. But like seriously, that guy looks like, and this is a bad image of him, but like with his mad scientist uniform off,
Mock
and the flowing hair, it's like that's Mick Jagger.
Oh yeah.
That's Mock Jagger. Yeah, it's cool. And if you're into like old school animation, like the Bakshi stuff, this is a worthy watch.
Yeah, if you enjoyed heavy metal, you would enjoy this for sure.
Nice.
I would agree with that. And heavy metal is better than the sequel.
Oh,
so,
by light years.
By a million miles.
Because it's John Candy in it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And Joe Flaherty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a bunch of them a bunch of the
space cocaine.
That's right. You sure you just drive this thing? Oh my God. You've never seen heavy metal?
Oh, stop what you're doing right now.
Oh, yeah. Why are you watching us? You need to go and watch heavy metal.
You can watch us later. We'll be on forever.
Gosh. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, skip to the last 20 minutes and watch the sequence, the final sequence with Tarna, the Tarakian warrior. So good. If I can find it. Okay, fair enough.
Actually, most Walmarts have it in the $5 bin these days.
That's true. That is true. It can be found relatively cheap. Random Rick reviews. Heavy metal didn't have enough actual heavy metal, but it did have some cool things in it. It did. It had Sammy Hagar. I can't drive 55 with a early model Corvette falling from space. It had the Lochnar, and we've mentioned that before. But speaking of the Lochnar, that's going to turn up again this episode, and I have some concerns over that.
And what is it that Always Sunny in Philadelphia says? They hang dong in that movie.
They do hang dong in that movie.
Cartoon John Candy.
That's true.
Yep,
that is true.
They do.
Yeah, John Candy's the heavy metal He-Man in that one.
Den.
Dar.
Is it Dar?
It's Dar. Yeah,
That was Den for some reason.
I'm gonna stay. I'm somebody here. Anyway,
back to Ewoks.
The Nelvana connection strengthens again.
I think we need to do a heavy metal episode.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So as I was saying, the Lochnar is back. Back at Bright Tree Village, Logray returns home with a considerably smaller Locaspore.
Much more manageable.
Tebow.
You went out and above and over way too much.
Yeah, trying to impress him.
If I'm going to get a Locaspore, I'm going to get the biggest one I can find.
Well, he must need the biggest one. He asked for a friggin' lantern bird nest.
That's true. That's true.
Go big.
Now, when Tebow doesn't answer, because Logray's like, Tebow,
Here, Tebow.
the green scrying device, the one that I call the spinning Lochnar,
Sure.
begins spinning and the image of Morag appears. So now it's a
Cell phone.
It's a two-way communication device.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Why the hell is this thing not covered at all times except for when you're using it?
It's like the Palantir.
It's the Palantir.
From Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many references. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
This is like ultra scary though. Like, oh, if she could have
yeah.
done this all the time.
She's just watching all the time.
That's what I mean. She should have had them overrun by now.
Is it a two-way street though? Is he also keeping tabs on her?
Because it can show him other stuff
Oh.
elsewhere, right? Like he just spins it and says, "Show me the money."
That's a good question. It's true. He does do that.
Yeah.
Well, Morag is pleased to know that Logray remembers her. And Logray says something to the effect, well, for 200 snows you've plagued us. How could I forget? And that answers our question, like, how long do Ewoks live?
Mm-hmm.
At
Plus 200 plus.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was
like,
So you could, there's a little nuance there. He was either like a young man, like, 18, 19, 20.
Yep.
That, like, not those numbers, but that age range when he fought her and became her subordinate or slave. But could she have plagued them for generations before that? So I like our interpretation at first face value is that Logray's at least 220, say.
I'm definitely in the camp that he is a well over 200
right
Endorian years. I'm going to get into that a little bit more here on the next one.
Because like it would be kind of weird if they just counted snowfalls, because you can get multiple of those per year, right?
I think winters, right? I think snow is just
it's
just winter,
a blanket term.
Yeah, absolutely.
Aw.
What's that? Oh, Joe fan. No way. My local Walmart doesn't have a cheap movie bin.
What the hell?
I live in farm country, so the only things here are old Western
Dude,
movies.
DM us your address. We'll get you a copy.
And country music, hunting, and mostly farm stuff.
We'll get you a copy. Send us your address.
And I mean, the Canadian dollar, so it'll be extra cheap for you.
Yeah.
Morag offers him an end to their feud, and she says, "Our feud." And she shows them her prisoners and demands that Logray returns the Sunstar to her in exchange for the kids. At that point, the scrying device stops working, and Logray removes a mask from the hut. Apparently, it's the only mask that didn't
get down and dusted.
Yeah, well, it also didn't get like blown off the wall when the locust spore exploded.
Right. Perma-mask.
Reaching inside a hole behind the mask, Logray withdraws the magical stone, and he leaves to meet his destiny. All right, so here's what I was getting at. Earlier, I misspoke on an earlier episode, and we were going on the 368 day or whatever the Legends reference for what a galactic standard year was. But from where is it here? From the canon reference book, Star Wars, absolutely everything you need to know. It tells us that a galactic standard year is 365 days, just like it is here on Earth. And that is based on a 24-hour day of Coruscant. Then, in a completely different canon reference book, this one, Star Wars, The Galactic Explorer's Guide, that tells us that 1 year on Endor is 402 standard days.
I think if you do the math there, that's pretty equivalent.
I would think so.
Yeah.
402 standard days times 200 divided by 365. It's a lot of math. You want to do it?
Well,
No.
look into it.
Sure. Go ahead. Do you need the slide?
Just for a second.
Yeah, of course. Oh, Joe Fan says it's on eBay for $3. I'll get it later.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's totally worth
Won't regret
it.
it.
Even if you can find it, is there a copy on YouTube?
I bet there is.
I got time for that. Andy's doing math. I got time to look something up for a fan.
I'm gonna draw a picture. It's dark in here.
Metal movie.
Two.
Clips, trailer. Oh, Heavy Metal 2000. There's a playlist, and I think it's broken down into smaller portions. That being said, if you want, is there a rental? Is there a rental version? Yeah, there's a rental version on YouTube Movies. Buy or rent. There we go.
There, I drew Deku.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Close that.
So I don't know where I was going with that. My brain just stopped.
Oh, okay.
But, Galactic Standard comes out to 15, whereas Endorian comes out to 22.
22. Wait a minute. That doesn't sound right. What did we say? 402 standard days.
Yeah.
Is an Endorian year.
Yeah.
Times how many snows?
200.
200. Now, one galactic standard year is 365 days. 220.
Okay.
220 galactic standard years in that equation, which I don't know why I just did that. Why did we just do that? Why did we do that?
That's the definition of coming off the rails. Joe said he didn't see that. So there.
Oh, there we go. Oh, that is so cool.
Thanks, man. I
love it. The short version is, yes, Ewoks long-lived.
Old Ewoks.
Long-lived. Which lends credence to
Wookiee
the whole,
territory, right?
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like now, like Chewie is considerably older, and the Wookiees we know are much longer lived than that, but smaller bears, shorter life.
That's right.
Sure.
That's what I'm going with anyway. All right, Logray approaches. Oh, there's another thing we get. Approaches Morag's lair, which we now know is called Thunderstone Mountain.
Yeah, wicked.
I wish I had known that earlier because I would have referred to it that way
the whole
time.
It's got playset written all over it, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
The closed captioning does get it wrong though. They call it Thunderstorm Mountain.
She clearly says Thunderstone.
Oh,
yeah. There's no, or sorry, he says Thunderstone.
Yeah.
Thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Well, the subtitles have gotten things wrong on the show a few times. That's funny you point that out. I'll have to edit that I'll edit the Wikipedia later, and then I can get canceled again.
Awesome.
That joke is never going to die, by the way. They can sue me. I'm an editor at Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you, and you, and you. All right, he approaches Thunderstone Mountain while inside Morag has the Ewok children cleaning the lair. Sound familiar?
Anytime they get kidnapped, they got to clean or do some sort of task like
or
that.
babysitting. It's all it's chore based stuff. Like, what would an actual child be afraid of? I have to clean my room.
What do you mean? I have to vacuum the whole house?
It's all well and good to have mortal danger, but the real thing is like make your bed.
Yeah, things that kids don't want to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Goonies would have been a different movie if they had to like make your bed.
Oh my God. Yeah. Tebow remarks to Wicket that this is like a bad dream, and it's exactly what happened to Logray.
Mm-hmm.
Nisa shouts at Morag, "We've done no harm to you. Let us go." But Morag says that after Logray has delivered the Sunstar, she'll have no more use for them. And it's not expressly clear if the meaning behind that is, when he shows up and brings me the thing, I'll let you go. Or when he shows up, yeah.
I'm going to way more sense. Lava pool
the underpinnings are way darker for sure.
Nisa calls her a poor creature and says, "You have nothing but hate in your life." Morag refutes her by firing off another blast, a blast from the Shadowstone, and she calls it power that will crush Logray. That will crush Logray.
Unlimited power.
Along with their entire village, and in the maniacal, and make me ruler for all time.
Which means she's definitely going to throw them in the lava pool.
She's like completely mad.
Oh yeah.
Power obsessed. Which is kind of her undoing.
Mm-hmm.
Darkholders here on YouTube, he says Space Goonies will be released later this year.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, man.
We are so excited for that. That is definitely going to be our next review series. tentatively Fandom Crew.
Yes.
Fandom Crew.
Fandom Crew reviewing Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Fan? No, that's something different. That's
Skeleton
Halloween.
Fan.
Fandom Crew.
Bones.
Joe Fan says, my biggest fear was cleaning my sister's room. She had old food that turned into a science experiment under her bed.
Oh my.
If it walks out, man, just let it go.
Space Goonies ? That is a
Ooh,
reference to
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
Which has been referred to as the premise will be Goonies in space.
Yes, yeah. So that's sort of the way that it's been pitched. A movie about kids going on an adventure, and there's pirates.
Mhm.
And how do you get me interested? You say that phrase. Goonies
in space.
space.
Sold. I'll be there opening night.
Mhm.
Yes, making her ruler for all time. Whoa, whoa. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Never heard of Goonies or Skeleton Crew.
Hopefully Skeleton Crew, because like the Goonies are good
Oh
enough.
my.
Just ask Cyndi Lauper.
I'm coming to your house and I'm bringing a whole bunch of 80s movies, bro.
It's going to be such a good time. Yeah, Skeleton Crew. It's the next live action Star Wars television series on Disney Plus. It comes
Starring
out
Jude Law and
in
Urkel.
December. Yeah, it comes out in December.
Yep.
Just before Christmas or just in time for Christmas.
yeah, definitely head over to Random Fandom because
Yeah,
I believe we've got
absolutely.
links in the show notes for the trailer. At least in one of them.
And if we're going to get a live action Hondo Anaka, it's going to
Oh,
be in that friggin'
I
series.
has to.
So want that. On a side note, did anybody hear that the Mandalorian and Grogu will be the end?
Yes.
There will be no more
Yes.
no more series.
The Ray movie has been put on hold.
Well, I don't think that's really all that upsetting, to be
No,
honest.
not upsetting. No, just I see them rejigging things a little.
I don't think that I do think that there's room for that character going forward.
Mhm.
Have you seen the Stuart Beatty's interview with Theory about his
I have
Obi-Wan
not.
trilogy?
I haven't watched that yet.
Bro, it's like credit where credit's due. Holy cow. I wish like Luke trying to do the scene from The Mandalorian with the ball and Grogu, and
Yeah,
Obi-Wan is
yeah.
like living in-house with Beru and Owen saying, you raise him till he's 4, then I'm taking him and we're leaving. And he's
wow.
and he's trying to float a ball over to him, and Luke gets frustrated and angry, and the ball just bounces all over, like, oh, the things we could have gotten, or maybe will get. Anyway, sorry, off the rails.
Ewan wants to do a season 2.
Oh, I want it more than anything.
Yeah.
So does Hayden Christensen.
Oh,
All right. So, yeah, we'll make her ruler for all time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Logray approaches the entrance to the lair and more of the Yuzums. Now, this is weird because we know from earlier episodes that she has a pair of Yuzums. We only ever see her with a pair of them.
that's right.
But from my way of thinking in this episode, she has at least 6 of them.
Yeah, because there's 2 outside, 2 more inside guarding the Ewoks,
Yeah.
and then you figure 2 that are riding around on the spider things.
There are at least 4 of them that Logray incapacitates,
Yeah.
a la Luke and the Gamorrean guard style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's still 2 guys that are at the end, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
wait,
Well, he just levitates a couple of them and floats them around.
it's in their eyes.
Yeah.
You see their eyes get all like hypnotic swirl, I guess.
A Yuzum for every occasion.
Yeah, even
And
ones
are they under some sort of spell? Because the one we encounter in live action is like an articulate singer.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't put it past her to like have them under her spell.
Right.
Like, here, just be a mindless slave to me. And thus they would be colored darker because they're under evil influence.
Did they arrive with her on the shuttle in that
Ooh.
article?
Everybody else did.
I mean, I don't think they're native to Endor. They might be. I'll have to look it up again. All right. So a pair of the Yuzum moved to intercept him. And as I said, in a Luke Skywalker kind of, oh, am I on the wrong slide? I am on the wrong slide. Oh, I'm not. Yes, I am. What number am I on?
I don't know.
13. Okay, 13. In a Luke Skywalker stopping the Gamorrean guard kind of way, he speaks one word. I don't even know what the word is. It's like Katoosh, I think is what he says.
Skadoosh.
It's close. It is close. And they instantly like, huh? Freeze. Dude freezes mid, like about to eat his like dinner. Frozen hypnotically. In fact, one of them is literally frozen, like you said, Andy, midair.
Mhm.
Inside the lair, Tebow is like, we need to do something before Logray gets here, not realizing that he's coming in the door right now. Wicket gives him a signal, be quiet, as a two-headed rat. A two-headed rat shows up to spy on them, suggesting that it's semi-intelligent, at least. Wicket tosses a bone at the rat. Get out of here! The rat does, but not before two heads and like devour this bone.
According to classic Wikipedia,
Yeah.
they are home to Endor.
Oh, they are
Endor.
They are native to Endor.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Joe Fan says, just bring her a good old taco. That'll put her in a better mood, like the Snickers. You're not you when you're hungry.
She's not Betty White.
All right. Morag wonders aloud where Logray is, but then the Shadowstone emits a pulse, presumably because of the close proximity of its companion piece, the Sunstar.
Where we've seen that
crystals.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so and then Morag knows that he is near. She orders 2 more Yuzum to bring the Ewoks to her. Wicket thinks that they're being set free, but Morag corrects him, set free so they can watch her destroy Logray.
These Yuzum are a lot bigger too now that I'm thinking more about it. Like in Jedi, it feels like they kind of like scale like an Ewok, but with longer legs.
I feel like he's shorter than Sai Snoodles.
Right.
Yeah. Inside the lair, Logray stops 2 more Yuzum with the same word, Katoosh! And again, hypnotic swirl, and they freeze. The kids he asks the kids if they are okay. Now, Tebow, they say yes, and Tebow, all, sorry for himself. It's all my fault.
It is.
It is.
Way to go, Tebow.
That's my
It
guy.
is. And Logray, not now, Tebow. He turns his attention to Morag and he says, I'm here. Now let the young ones go. But Morag holds out her hand, demanding the Sunstar first. Nisa, she pipes up and tells him, don't do it. But Morag unleashes another bolt from the Shadowstone and orders her to be silent. Logray warns her not to harm the kids, but she refutes him by saying, oh, and what would you do about it?
Ooh.
Magical gauntlet thrown.
As she says that, she starts weaving a spell of her own. And interestingly enough, like fresh, new green vines start growing out of Logray's own staff and begin to ensnare him. She makes an interesting comment here because earlier on in Chirpa's story, it's insinuated that Logray learned magic from her,
right?
And
like
now
sold the knowledge.
And now she's saying, "I know more about the natural ways than you think." And
which is probably true.
She makes a point.
Because like he only stayed long enough until he knew enough to get out.
That's true. She makes a point though to say like your natural ways.
Yeah.
Like almost like
light side, dark side. Like
yeah,
I've mastered your light side abilities, but I can also shoot lightning out my fingertips.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
That's a very Sithy thing to say. Like you can't learn all of it without learning all of it. Right.
Like Maul is the only Sith we ever encounter. Well, you could argue Palpatine too, but that we know the backstory of. And we don't really know the backstory of Palpatine. So Maul is the only one that isn't former Jedi that we're aware of.
Tyrannus.
No, Tyrannus is definitely former Jedi.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's what
we were arguing.
No, Maul isn't.
Is not.
Maul is the only example of purely like Sith from birth sort of action. Yeah.
Canonically speaking, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
We don't really know Palpatine's status, although there are inklings. But so every other Dark Force user we've ever encountered has been a fallen Light Force user. So of course they would have come from the perspective of having conquered that. So it even ties in with the other image that she portrays in the cave could be her former self too.
Asajj Ventress was never a Jedi, though.
Oh, yes,
But she was never a full Sith, was she?
She
She was always
yeah.
apprentice.
So she was a Jedi.
Okay.
She
That's
was a
true.
Jedi Padawan. And in the Tartakovsky take on things, she was fully Dooku's apprentice. So
Yeah.
Yeah, she does that whole.
hard to say. And her eyes changed where
They do, yeah.
even Dooku's don't. So
There's that whole when they meet. What are you? I am
that's a dark gray
Sith.
area.
No, you're not. That's kind of, and it's funny how they meet because she's I am Sith, and he's like inside, he's.
Who
Whoa,
are you now?
what do you think you're doing?
Spank.
Joe Fan, good question. Didn't she have a thing for him or something like that, or was that someone else? I had wondered that earlier on, if perhaps there was a possible
Spurned lover kind of
right
take.
I-
This origin story at the beginning sort of negates that. I would think.
that totally dispels the idea that might have been a thing.
Well, I mean, he is telling a story for children. Are you going to leave out the adult parts?
Oh,
I mean, there
Because if he
That's
she
had-
did
true.
let him live. She did let
that's
him live.
true. And who's to say how long he stayed with her,
could've
or
got
she
some
Mm.
Stockholm syndrome or something going on
Oh.
there, and
did
Or
he
Lima.
lure her into a false sense of of affections?
teach me your ways, I'll be yours forever.
Yeah, possibly. See, now if we were remaking this, that's something
Yeah.
that we would
would have
skirt
to
around.
address,
We would
yeah.
do that.
Totally.
Yeah. I like that idea. But no, I don't think he had a thing for her.
Because that could be his wisdom of not foolishly using tricks when
Relying on
right?
yourself first.
That's right.
You naughty,
I
naughty
had to
boy.
sleep with that hag 98 times. Now I can levitate trees.
Uh,
The Force is an STD.
oh boy.
Oh my.
Yeah, she unleashes another bolt from the Shadowstone and orders Nisa to be silent. Logray warns her not to harm them, and she refutes, "What would you do about it?" Weaving the spell, Morag causes Logray's staff to grow new vines that ensnare him. Logray reaches into his belt pouch, producing the Sunstar, and the vines recede. But it seems like the ordeal is physically taxing for Logray. Like, did he just tap into the Sunstar and that took something out of him? Is he tired from like fighting against the vines? He is an old guy. He does
Yeah,
sure.
lean on the staff.
It could be because, like they do say, we put it away so we weren't tempted to use it
That's true.
because the power is too great.
Either way, he does like a and he slumps against the stone table behind him.
Sure.
Morag orders two of the Yuzums and the two-headed rat to seize Logray, calling him an old fool. But the Ewoks charge into action. Dengar Ewoks! Tebow flings the rat across the cave, while Nisa and Latara, they essentially tackle the two Yuzums over the table.
Mm-hmm. They're top heavy.
They're like tribbles with legs.
Yeah, the legs just can't hold them.
Morag isn't done, and she says, "You haven't won yet." And then she strikes the staff against the cave floor, and the ground begins to tremble violently. It turns out that Mount Thunderstone is actually a volcano, and Morag has just activated it. The trembling grows in intensity, and Logray drops the Sunstar. From there, the Shadowstone floats out of Morag's staff, and it rejoins with the Sunstar before reinserting itself back into the staff.
It's like the Eclipso gem.
Though, oh yeah, same colors too.
Mm-hmm.
Funny you should mention that.
And I guess we should have mentioned it before, but Morag's staff and Logray staff very similar in their adornments.
Yeah, the way
In
that they've got
the
like
channeling.
Yeah.
Logray's almost looks
characteristic.
more similar to like somewhere between like a medieval man catcher and a shepherd's hook.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's definitely more organic. It's round where hers is like jagged straight lines.
Yeah.
But again, this is another thing. Like when we were talking about last week in the Guppin episode, is there a relationship between the Guppins and the grass trekkers just based on those two altars and their
Mhm.
similarities and differences?
Mhm, mhm.
Here we are seeing that again.
Well, the yin and yang just repeats and repeats and repeats, right?
Yeah. So this is again going back to that, like the show Bible. I would love to have a read through the show Bible just to see what's all the stuff that we don't
So good.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Morag, now overcome with mad with power, begins to laugh hysterically. Logray says, "You have the Sunstar, release the young ones." But she is now completely lost in the power of the stone, and she continues her hideous crackle. The ground begins to split inside the cave, and Logray shouts to Morag, "You'll destroy the entire mountain!" As the cave is being ripped asunder, and you see stuff falling from the ceiling, the Ewoks flee as Morag, now standing at the foot of her arbor/altar staff-looking thing.
Throne.
What's that?
Throne.
Is it a throne?
But it's the exact same design as her staff.
That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. If it's some kind of, is it a sacrificial altar? What the hell is that? I don't
I
know.
thought it was like a throne type piece, but really brings the room together.
We'll call it Morag. Her symbol. It really brings the room together. Like a rug, eh?
Yeah.
A rug really ties the room together.
It focuses the energy on her.
So is that a white Russian sitting there beside her? What is that?
Nice. Is that Diddy's basement?
It's about to get hot in there.
Yeah, the cave is ripped asunder while the Ewoks flee, and Morag, standing at the foot of the arbor that's shaped like her staff, sinks into the molten lava. And the show makes a point of not showing her being like
Burned alive.
Right.
conflagrated. They just show us the top of the thing as if she's already gone under.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. What? It's a porta potty. I love it. Oh dear. As the Ewoks rush outside, Nisa shockingly says, "She's finished." But Logray corrects her. "No, she's not. She's more powerful than ever."
It's only 18 minutes in. We got more to go.
And they quickly run from the mouth of the cave. Is this the same entrance that they went in that was all glowy?
I don't think so.
I would think
I
not.
don't believe so because that one was very close to the village.
Well, this is what I was
like,
saying.
yeah.
Like, I mean, for a minute, I'm like, it's kind of similar, but kind of
It
not.
could be recycled animation, but I think for all intents and purposes, it's well away from the village.
I hope so, for that very reason. Like, oh, Morag lived that close all along?
Yeah, and why doesn't she just send lava to like burn the village down?
Why didn't we
You
see the
take that
mountain
out
in the
with hang
background of
gliders.
any of Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, exactly. Outside the cave, the ground erupts, and Morag rises up now, but she's now been transformed into this like huge lava monster, which is several times bigger than her original form.
Mm,
The Sunstar Shadowstone now embedded in her forehead.
crazy.
Which
I wasn't worried because this always works out in Scooby Doo.
Yeah, she's got to take her mask off.
That's right. Logray ushers the kids away as he says that he needs to finish this. Now, Tebow protests, saying that she's too powerful, but Logray like shoves him, like, "Go,
Mm.
Shut up, kid. I know what I'm doing.
get out of here." Morag shambles over toward Logray, now towering over him. Logray warns her not to come any closer, but Morag, now with the Sunstar embedded in her forehead, unleashes another blast, which knocks the staff from Logray's hands. Fortunately, Tebow's not too far away, recovers the staff and throws it back to Logray, who plants the staff firmly in the ground, and he begins chanting. Morag calls his defense feeble.
You
and
shall not pass.
Feeble and disappointing. Yeah, really, the Balrog.
Balrog.
Like,
Yeah, man. There's so
flaming.
much. There's so much Lord of the Rings in this show.
What's interesting is once he completes his chant, he picks the staff up out of the ground, and a gout of water sprays up, and it begins to douse Morag's molten form. And within a few seconds, she's quite literally reduced to stone, which I thought, wow, that was quick. Like, I thought there was going to be a much larger, much more prolonged,
Mm.
drawn out
Yeah.
battle. Like we need a wizard battle.
Yeah.
We didn't really get that.
No. And now you could just pop the stone out of the forehead.
Doink!
Done.
I like this in the sense that this reminds me of like the Terminator, like the T-1000 or
Yeah,
the one in
up
Genesis. Yeah, and it's like breaks through.
Yeah,
Only in this case, I think she kind of knows that she's done, because it almost, and I feel like this was intentional. She turns on Logray one last time, knowing that she's
Lurching
done,
forward.
and literally falls into a heap of rocks on top of him. I think she was trying to kill him,
Yeah, crush him.
presumably crushing the shaman. Tebow and the others now work to move the rocks, but it turns out that most of them are just too big.
Very large.
It's a somber moment, and Latara is weeping openly, and Tebow sits atop the pile of stone, quite somberly, remarking, "We'll never be able to move it all." But Wicket, ever the good friend, tries to comfort him and calls him a hero for getting Logray the staff back, and that if he hadn't, they'd have been done. But now Morag is gone forever. But Tebow overcome, and so is Logray. But then the rocks begin to tremble, and Tebow shouts, "Not again!" But then Logray's voice rings out, seemingly from nowhere, possibly the afterlife, and begins to chant. As black night gives to golden morn, as ice disappears when spring's reborn, let joy rise up from grief and woe, and from evil's death let new life grow. And from the pile of rocks sprouts what looks like a cherry tree.
Mm-hmm.
A cherry tree in full bloom. The tree grows tall and full, and at the top stands Master Logray, alive and well. He shouts the traditional Ewok greeting, "Goopa, young ones," as he holds the recombined Sunstar Shadowstone. And Nisa's like, "I thought we'd never see you again." And Tebow apologizes, for failing. "I failed you, Master." Logray admits that, "Well, yes, Tebow, you did abuse the magic, but in the end, you relied on yourself to get out of trouble, just like I taught you." I like this part. We get a comedic beat here. "So you're not mad at me?" And Logray just starts going down the laundry list. "Well, you did waste the prison pebbles. You broke my ceremonial wand, and you nearly got us all killed. But we'll talk about that later." And they all go home.
Mm-hmm. So do we need to address the parallel of the witch trapped in the tree here?
Go for it.
There's an old story about the Stone King.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Well, anyway, him and his dudes, he was foretold by a prophecy that as soon as he laid eyes on Long Compton, he would become the king of England.
Okay.
But there was a witch on the hill that would not let him pass. So she ends up turning his entire army into boulders.
Oh, really?
And turns him into one as well and says, "I'm going to stand here as a tree forever to watch over you to make sure you don't become king." So she imprisons herself in an Elden tree, but, witch in the tree.
That's interesting. I'm still a little bit. Oh, Joe Fan remembers that one.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, I remember that story. I don't. I still thought we'd had a more protracted wizard battle.
Mm-hmm.
And, for all of this, reading way back when we started, Morag's only in it for 4 or 5 episodes.
Yep.
And I thought, we're going to get this culmination of
Good versus evil.
Yeah. And it didn't really happen. And her own lust for power was kind of her undoing.
But so we talked about this at the beginning, that this doesn't seem to be in order with the rest of the episode.
No.
So, and we see Morag presumably in those episodes which occur after this episode.
Yeah.
And she has the Shadowstone in those episodes.
She does. Yeah.
They don't really discuss it.
No, it's just there.
It's named.
I don't think it's named.
What about the idea that perhaps they made a movie and then chopped it up into episodes and sort of just shuffled them around? And, we've got 4 episodes, 5 episodes now. We need to flesh this out into a season and see what we can do on TV, because nobody wants to.
Oh,
you know what I mean? If you would chop those 4 episodes up, you could probably make something pretty linear.
You just the Morag episodes,
right? Parts of this where Tebow is apprenticing with him, or the beginning. Parts of the other episodes where he's already
practicing.
Just the Morag episodes. If you re-edited them into a little hour and a half
cohesive
movie,
story, you
really could fix the timeline problems. And it feels like that's maybe.
Well, they were doing that at the time, right?
They reverse engineered it.
The Inhumanoids movie, which was split up into 5 episodes.
Oh, okay. We
Yeah.
talked about this at the beginning, making the droid analogy, and that how droids did sort of do these mini movies. They did 3-4 episode arcs, and that we weren't getting that in this. But now that you say that,
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
It was envisioned as that.
I mean, obviously the two Jinda episodes, the two Guppin episodes,
Yeah.
could be woven together. Maybe
Yep.
they make another
Sure they
one.
could. Sure they could.
Mhm.
The Duloc
Isn't that
episodes
strange?
just all blend in together
They
anyway.
do, yeah,
right?
they all just kind of like
But
willy-nilly.
specifically the 5 sort of or 4 Morag episodes could be re-edited to form something very cohesive, I think.
We've got
Mhm.
4 more episodes of the series to go through, and you bet you're behind.
We need the Patterson cut.
I am going to be watching the last 4 episodes with that in mind. That did they break these up?
Yeah.
Because that has me like, oh, I need to go back and take a look at our old shows and really think about this.
So we'll have to just do an extra one at the end to season wrap up.
Yeah, really. All right, so moving on with our last slide, which of course, happily ever after. Back at Bright Tree Village, we pick up with Logray, who's now recounting the story of how the Sunstar Shadowstone was returned to Bright Tree Village, and how Morag's life force returned to the forest as a thing of beauty.
Hmm.
Sort of the ultimate contrast to her.
Feels
life,
like
I suppose.
feels like the series finale, right?
kind of.
Happy ending. Everything's wrapped up.
He has this line. It's funny because I presume like he's talking to a bunch of adults. I don't see any of the kids there. I don't know about the young apprentice, but I heard he and his friends lived happily ever after. Like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but everybody there knows.
And then the Empire came.
Yeah. He holds out the bag of prison pebbles, and finally, with proper adult supervision, Tebow gets to do his first magic and tosses a prison pebble, which turns into a wonderful, beautiful fireworks display, almost reminiscent of the Ruby Spears opening.
Mhm.
Taking shots at another animation company. And that's it. The episode ends.
Now I want to go back and watch Return of the Jedi, the new cut. Were there fireworks on Endor?
Yeah.
And is
Yeah.
this how they're doing it?
No,
sure.
they were.
Oh, no.
I thought they were deployed from the X-wings.
They definitely were. They had ships. Yeah.
I thought they were.
Because
Yeah.
they could do it this way, right? Which would be a nice
They could.
nod. But
At the end of
The Ewoks were too busy scooping out those helmets and turning
Yeah.
it into Jello or something.
the end of
Chilled
Rise of
Trooper
Skywalker,
brains.
when it's all over, we get that shot of Chief Wicket standing there.
That's right.
Was there any celebrations happening then?
I don't recall. I'll have to watch it again.
I forgot about that scene. That's probably the only redeeming scene in that movie.
Oh, Joe Fan says, I always thought that the X-Wing shot them out. Yes,
Yeah,
I
me
thought so
too.
as well.
It's like dropping bombs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is it for this one. This one, episode 9, Sunstar versus Shadowstone. So what's on for next week? Next week is a pretty interesting one. I will admit, I got ahead this week.
Mhm.
I've already watched it once.
Me too.
Wicket's Wagon.
Yeah, it's cool.
Man, I like that one.
So the idea that just, I don't want to get into it too much, but the idea that there's ants like that, like they find an ancient artifact sort of. And
I like
just
the
think
fact-
that's super cool.
We'll talk about getting answers to earlier questions that we had. We get some more context in the next episode. You'll have to come back for that one. If you haven't watched Wicket's Wagon, watch it this week. Come back and join us next week when we talk about, we're going to talk a little bit more about Force Nexus points.
Mhm.
Because clearly the soul trees are just that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Big
Mm.
time.
I love that. But you'll have to come back for that one. Of course, Andy and I will be here on Tuesday night for Random Fandom Tuesday edition, whatever it is this week,
78 or 79.
79.
Somewhere in that area.
400 some odd.
Yeah, we're over 400 videos now, I think. Also 470 subscribers as of today. So
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you everybody who's finding us and who's subscribing. We absolutely love
Tell your friends.
support. Yeah, absolutely. I would say check out the merch shop.
Yeah.
and I don't
Especially Joe, if you're a fan of all that old cartoon stuff from the 80s. Andy's been going crazy lately.
Yeah, you can check out our merch shop. It's TeePublic, Fandom Power on TeePublic. You can find us there. All of our 129 pop culture inspired designs. Many of them will look so familiar to you. Andy's been hard at work churning out. It seems like that's all you've been doing. I don't know who's been driving, cracking the whip on you, but man,
wicked this week. Yeah.
But yeah, they're on sale until I believe midnight tonight.
Yeah. So
did that My Hero one go up?
Yeah, it's up.
Oh yeah,
both of them are up.
Yeah.
Wicked.
We have a few surprises. We're going to hold on to some of those for Tuesday for one of our fans that I know will turn up. So that's going to be a fun reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, there you go, Joe fan. I've been there. Quite a few things I want.
Beauty.
Thank you for visiting the site. And because you're in America, my friend,
It's
Oh.
cheaper
you will
shipping
not
for you.
get hosed on shipping. So order away. We love the support.
I love my $100 mug.
That's right. Yeah, bought like four or five T-shirts. I'm like $200. Holy crap! Oh well, it's fine.
They do turn out nice.
I'm
though.
supporting.
Oh,
they
they
did
do.
turn out nice.
And my
And
one of a kind Mando hoodie.
I will say this: TeePublic is fantastic on the customer support side of things. I've told the story once before. I'll give you the condensed version. They sent me a shirt that the registration was off, so it was off-centered. Not only was it off-centered, but the print quality was absolutely terrible. It looked like it had been washed about 100 times. And the only reason I questioned that was because the other shirts in my order were like
Crystal clear.
like you dumped a can of paint. They were like so solid. I sent off an email with a couple of photos saying what the problem was. Not only did they replace the shirts that I questioned, they replaced my entire order, which was like 5 shirts. So
Super cool. Very
very
cool.
You can't complain about that.
No.
Yeah, we're on the merch shop. We are very close to being able to offer channel memberships. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like when we hit that threshold. But that is on the horizon. Otherwise, if you want to support us, we only have one level on Patreon, and it is a very affordable level. It's like get a coffee or two kind of level. There's not a lot of flashy rewards. Either you want to support us or you don't. And you know what? We respect your choice. Just the fact that you're here watching our shows week in and week out, that is incredible. We love that.
At the highest tier, we might even hang dong.
Joe fan, I do appreciate your financial situation. So that's great, man.
Yeah. What about the lights, man?
The lights. So I had a question about your lights. Ask away. We do have some time. We have all the time. We can sit here and shoot the breeze for a while.
Hell yeah.
Whose lights? Our lights? Hank's lights? The lights? All the lights.
They look like we could be in the same space, but we are 1,200 kilometers or what's that, about 1,000 miles away from one another.
Yeah, that's right. Well, listen, I can tell you a little bit about the setup here for us. Oh, perfect. Okay, so the situation here in this room, Andy and I are in the same room. So what you are seeing, two different angles on the same setup. Now the rope light, the violet rope light across the top of the shelves is plugged in by itself. In that it's
remote driven,
full USB with a remote, lots of options on there. The stick lights, there are 5 stick lights. Each stick light is its own. They're all the same manufacturer, so they actually all run off of a single remote, and they are each plugged into a power bar. And I turn them on just before each show, set the colors to how I want them. I've been running with the violet and the blue the last couple of weeks, but we ran red and blue across the top. Christmas time, I'll probably switch it up for green and red. Halloween, we get a Halloween episode. I'll probably do orange, orange and black. But yeah, so
mine's super similar. I have these smaller bars. I got these. I don't know if you guys have a Dollarama where you're from, or just like a Dollar Tree
or Dollar General.
Yeah, this literally that's all that is. The remote, man. It's so easy to do. And then I have rope lights, and I have one light bulb, which is just the same idea, LED light bulb in a regular behind me somewhere on the floor. Can you see that?
You get a great glow though. Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah, it's just like a desk lamp that and then I have no lights on in the rest of the apartment almost because just my monitor is my fill light.
You've got your camera obviously works well in low light because that
Yeah,
looks
it's
pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I got
Definitely looks good.
Deku here is throwing a little light, but you can't see him with all the other lights.
So
He's
yeah,
got a box light.
Short version is there are tons of lighting options out there,
And they're cheap.
Yeah,
Super cheap.
absolutely. I thought about doing that in my room. I'm just wondering how they hook together. I've seen where you have to link lights together, but how do I get the gap so you don't have a continuous light bar? So for the blue lighting that I have, those are each one of those is its own light. It's its own fixture. It is a separate plug.
Yeah.
But they are all plugged into the same power bar.
Yeah.
These guys I run off USB on my computer. I have 2 of them running off just the USB powered USB on my computer, and then the rest are in like phone what are they called? Phone charger boxes. What are they called?
The brick, the little power brick.
Yeah, power bricks.
Power brick. That's what I call them anyway.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. So nothing is linked per se.
No,
that's not true. There are 2 lights in this room that you cannot see. They are my key lights, and they are linked together. But that's a whole other story. That gets into more video production stuff that I don't really want to get into. Although I'm more than willing to do that. That would be great. We can do a.
I think my whole lighting rig is maybe $20 all together.
Mine is not.
Yeah,
mine's a little more than that. But I at some point, and there's some stuff off camera that you can't see that I still need to clean up and fix up. But Studio Tour is definitely on the list of videos.
Mm-hmm.
So that is coming. It will be Studio Tour / toy collection tour.
Ooh, yeah, let's do that.
That's going to be probably a standalone video, probably a short video, like a 4 to 5 minute video.
Nice.
Yeah.
But that is coming, and absolutely full studio tour. We'll do 100% gear breakdown. I'll go through everything that's on the desk here. So if you do have questions about how to do a podcast setup, and there are many different ways you can do this, we'll have some information for you that way. Good question. Now, is there a way to run them parallel without having to make it a single light, like breaks in the wiring where it is linked, but it does not light up? What you're asking is, can we shut off portions of the LEDs within the strip? And this one I cannot.
There are super expensive versions that you can do that, and you can link them in series or have them individually. Like mine are I have like 5 things plugged in, literally 5 independent sources, so I could have 5 independent colors around me if I wanted to.
I have a bunch of different like presets within the rope light, and some of them like the LEDs will cycle on and off, but there isn't a solid like turn 5 of them off, 5 of them on. Like I can't do that. But like Hank said, I'm sure that there is a more expensive set out there where you can do that. I just don't have the capability of being able to do that.
There we go, crazy rainbow style.
I can do. What have I got? I got the Halloween going on. So there's that. Oh, you can't really see that.
It doesn't make much change in the video there.
No, it doesn't. Let me see if I can.
There you go.
There's red.
You can do wacky things like make them
Green,
flash.
blue. Yeah, so I have all these like settings. I've got where is it on this one? Here we go. America. You can't see that, but that's red, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got there we go, pulsing.
I accidentally love my lighting right now. Look at that. That's wicked.
And we'll go back to Violet. Where are you?
Somewhere there. There you go.
There we go. That's the one I like. So yes, it is totally a possibility. I'm just not sure. If I knew your use case a little bit better, I could probably point you in a better direction. But that is a conversation for another time, my friend.
Yeah, man.
All right. I hope you all had a great time tonight hanging out with us, as much as we did hanging out with you. As always, gentlemen, I would turn it over to you. Is there anything you guys want to close on before we say goodnight?
That might have been the best episode yet for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
That was my most anticipated episode. I was looking forward to that only because I look ahead each week and I'm like, oh, this thing is happening. I really want to see that. And now that I've seen it, I'm like, I wish there was more.
Yeah, I definitely wish there's. Yeah, like I mean, I'm always left wanting.
I see. You want to light
proper
up
Lando Calrissian voice.
I would like to light up my Joe room with them, but I didn't want it to be a single strip.
Yeah, there's lots of options if you have ways to plug in.
I cheat a lot.
Phone block.
I cheat a lot. On the floor, there's a power bar that you can't see.
Right.
All of them are plugged into, right? So
the behind the scenes.
Exactly. Kay Daw says, good show as always, guys. See you on
Thanks,
Tuesday.
Kay.
Thank you, Kay. We will see you as well.
I will say this. There's one less thing on Endor now to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Finally.
Now,
One less thing.
And I guess my last thought is low gray like that powerful now? Is it like a cursed planet? Like you can't get off the planet? Like what? Like wouldn't Morag be like, I'm getting out of here and I'm going to wield this dark magic emperor style over the whole? Maybe I started something too late in the podcast.
I don't know. There's not a lot of technology on Endor as of yet.
No.
If the Sunstar / Shadowstone is some form of unique kyber or other force artifact,
right?
For sure. Knowing what we know about the Emperor, he's coming for it.
Right.
They'd be coming to harvest.
There's just no question.
Please let us rewrite this show.
Heck, you were talking about doing fan fiction. Maybe that's what we do is we adultify some of our favorite Ewoks episodes.
Wicked.
Latara and Tebow. There's a reason he's hiding in those bushes all the time.
I don't know if I want to see an Ewok without a hood on.
You've seen them, the little walklings. They don't get their hoods until they're a certain age.
Little pink thing like a dog.
It's like that episode of Family Guy with the lipstick.
Cut. I gotta get out of here. No. I'm Hank.
We're officially off the rails. Thanks, man. Josh or Joshua. Well, Josh. We'll do it that way.
You're a Joe fan. You're not
Joe
necessarily
fan.
Joe
fan.
Josh the Joe fan.
Perfect.
A pleasure to meet you, sir. Thank you very much. Also, thanks for coming over and hanging out at the clubhouse on Saturday. I was a guest over on Zazel's Clubhouse. Josh was there.
Nice.
Was a good time. All right, everybody. As always, remember, no matter what your thing is, fan on. And remember, for Fandom Power, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Hank.
Again. We'll be back next week. We'll see you all then. Bye for now, everybody.
Yep. Mana tutu. Ciao go finger wa. Gupa lupa. Koto ostoga.